Colleen Hoover shocked fans when she deactivated her Instagram on January 20th, and when she returned, the drama had only intensified. Once known for praising Blake Lively as kind and honest, Hoover completely reversed her stance, calling Lively out live on Instagram in a plot twist no one saw coming. Not only did she unfollow Blake, but she also erased every single photo of the It Ends With Us star from her feed. Fans quickly pieced together the message. Hoover was done with Blake's soap opera-level antics. For an author with a loyal fan base and a reputation to protect, this was more than a digital cleanup. It was a statement. At first, the change was subtle. Hoover, typically warm and approachable online, grew noticeably quiet as Blake's legal battle with Justin Baldoni erupted. Many expected Hoover to speak up with clarity, but when she finally returned, the signs were clear. She had distanced herself from the chaos. Interestingly, while Blake's traces were gone, Hoover still followed Baldoni, a small but pointed signal of where her loyalty may lie. The story of It Ends With Us should have been a triumph. Hoover's best-selling novel, beloved for its powerful exploration of heartbreak and resilience, was primed for success on the big screen. She entrusted Justin Baldoni, known for 5 Feet Apart and his reputation as a compassionate filmmaker, to bring her vision to life. The early buzz was promising. Then came Blake Lively. Lively's casting as Lily initially thrilled fans, with her ability to balance vulnerability and strength seemingly perfect for Hoover's story. But behind the scenes, trouble brewed. Rumors suggested Lively overstepped her role as an actress, inserting herself into creative decisions, clashing with Baldoni, and pushing to exert more control. Whispers of her being difficult gained traction, and for many it wasn't just rumor, but reputation. Things escalated further when Ryan Reynolds reportedly stepped in, allegedly contributing to script rewrites. Depending on perspective, it was either a husband's show of support or a disruptive case of too many cooks in the kitchen. Tension grew, with Baldoni struggling to maintain control as both Lively and Reynolds inserted themselves deeper into the project. What should have been a smooth adaptation devolved into a behind-the-scenes tug-of-war, creative clashes, ego battles, and endless rewrites. The film, meant to highlight themes of survival and empowerment, became overshadowed by Hollywood drama. Then the bombshell dropped. Blake Lively filed a legal complaint against Justin Baldoni, accusing him of sexual harassment during production. She detailed incidents ranging from uncomfortable personal conversations to alleged boundary violations during intimate scenes. Lively also claimed Baldoni orchestrated a smear campaign against her, employing PR strategies to discredit her while protecting his own carefully cultivated public image as a feminist filmmaker and advocate of modern masculinity. For fans and Hollywood insiders alike, the question became unavoidable. Were these accusations rooted in genuine misconduct? Or were they part of a larger battle for power, control, and narrative dominance? Either way, Colleen Hoover's decision to step away from Blake spoke volumes. By wiping her Instagram clean, she drew a line between her legacy as a writer and the chaos surrounding the film adaptation of her most beloved work. Blake Lively had always been surrounded by the glittering chaos of Hollywood, but nothing could have prepared her for the whirlwind that began when the lawsuit against her co-star Justin Baldoni hit the press. The coverage was relentless, a non-stop storm of speculation, whispers, and sharp commentary. For weeks, her name filled headlines in every entertainment outlet, social media thread, and gossip blog. Later, she would reflect on it as if it were a calculated pile-on attack, the kind of pile-on once reserved for high-profile politicians. Observers compared it to the frenzy often seen in Republican politics, where reputations could be dismantled in a single news cycle. For Blake, it was a month-long nightmare that seemed endless. For political operatives, it might have been just another Tuesday, but for a Hollywood actress trying to maintain her carefully cultivated image, it was catastrophic. The situation escalated dramatically when Baldoni fired back with a countersuit. Not only did he deny her allegations, but he accused Blake of orchestrating an elaborate defamation campaign to wreck his career. In his filings, he portrayed her not as a victim, but as a master manipulator, a woman hungry for attention, determined to dominate headlines at any cost. To his supporters, it was a bold counterstrike against Hollywood hypocrisy. To Blake's fans, it was a desperate smear designed to salvage a collapsing reputation. Either way, the legal fight had transformed into an all-out war of perception. As the lawsuits gained momentum, shocking revelations about the troubled production of It Ends With Us started leaking to the press. Behind-the-scenes accounts painted a picture of chaos long before the legal documents surfaced. What began as whispers turned into damning narratives, creative disputes, clashing egos, and power struggles that had poisoned the set. Then came Ryan Reynolds' unexpected involvement, which only added fuel to the fire. Some insiders claimed Ryan was trying to support his wife during the turmoil, but others suggested a darker motive. Reports surfaced that he had been quietly rewriting portions of the script, altering dialogue, and even reshaping character arcs. Instead of being seen as a collaborative tweak, it was interpreted by many as an attempt to seize creative control of a film that wasn't his. The absurdity of a Marvel superhero actor stepping into the role of an uninvited screenwriter wasn't lost on critics. Memes began circulating online. Deadpool correcting romance dialogue, Ryan sneaking into the writer's room with a red pen. Insiders joked 100% Ryan wrote this line. Not Blake, not Tina Fey, not SNL, but Ryan himself. While some fans found it entertaining, others saw it as a red flag. His involvement blurred the boundaries of professional responsibility and fed the narrative that Blake and Ryan operated as a Hollywood power couple determined to dominate projects they touched. But Ryan's rumored script edits were only the beginning. Reports suggested Blake herself had gone far beyond her role as the lead actress. Multiple insiders described her as the true creative force behind the film, a de facto director who made crucial decisions while Baldoni, the credited director, was sidelined. Camera angles, costumes, set design, even editing choices were said to have been under her influence. Baldoni, once touted as the visionary steering the adaptation of Colleen Hoover's best-selling novel, was reduced, according to whispers, to a figurehead. Blake, bolstered by years of experience since her Gossip Girl days, allegedly commanded the set like her own kingdom. This alleged power imbalance fueled speculation online. Was Blake simply passionate about ensuring the book's adaptation stayed true to its audience, or had she overstepped into dangerous territory? Did Baldoni lose control willingly, or had he been forced into irrelevance by a co-star whose ambition stretched far beyond acting? Fans dissected leaked anecdotes, debating whether Blake was protecting the integrity of the story or undermining the creative process. As this discourse raged, the lawsuits overshadowed everything. Baldoni claimed Blake's accusations had already cost him dearly, with his talent agency dropping him in the aftermath. He wasn't just suing for defamation, he was seeking a staggering $400 million in damages. The sheer scale of the claim shocked the industry, underscoring the fallout's severity. For Baldoni, it was about more than money. It was about survival. His reputation, his career, his ability to work in Hollywood again, all of it was on the line. And he wasn't holding back. He named Blake, Ryan, and even Blake's publicist Leslie Sloan in the lawsuit, framing the trio as key players in what he argued was a deliberate effort to ruin him. The internet, meanwhile, devoured every update. Conspiracy threads formed on Reddit, YouTube commentators produced hour-long breakdowns, and TikTok users dissected body language clips from old interviews. Audiences weren't just watching a lawsuit. They were witnessing the dismantling of Hollywood personas in real time. Then came Colleen Hoover's shocking decision. As the author of It Ends With Us and the original creative spark behind the adaptation, many assumed she would be loyal to both stars. Initially, she praised Blake for her kindness and support, calling her honest, patient, and genuine. But as the lawsuits heated up, Hoover quietly deleted all traces of both Blake and Baldoni from her Instagram. Posts from the premiere vanished. Candid behind-the-scenes photos disappeared. Her heartfelt messages of admiration were gone. In their place, silence. Fans immediately noticed. Hoover had once gushed about her collaborators, but now it looked as though she wanted to erase any association with them. Her Instagram purge sent shockwaves through the fandom. Was she trying to stay neutral? Protect her career in Hollywood? Or was she secretly siding with Baldoni, whom she'd known long before he signed on to direct? Hoover's silence became louder than any statement. Though she maintained her friendship with Baldoni privately, she publicly distanced herself from both stars. Some fans applauded the move, interpreting it as savvy self-preservation. Others accused her of cowardice, of betraying Blake to protect her future. Critics labeled her a sellout, a writer willing to sacrifice loyalty at the altar of Hollywood ambition. When Hoover temporarily deactivated her Instagram, the mystery deepened. Weeks later, she returned, but her profile was cleansed of anything related to the film or its stars. It was as though she had scrubbed them out of her personal narrative entirely. To some, this confirmed her neutrality. To to others, it looked like a symbolic rejection of Blake, especially since her relationship with Baldoni remained intact behind the scenes. The fandom's divide grew sharper. Was Hoover siding with Baldoni? Was she protecting herself from getting dragged into a legal war that could consume her reputation too? Or was she playing a longer game, waiting until the dust settled before reasserting herself? Meanwhile, Baldoni's countersuit continued to dominate headlines. His demand for $400 million illustrated the damage he believed had been inflicted. By accusing Hoover of initially siding with Blake without hearing his side, he painted himself as isolated, abandoned by colleagues he had trusted. The fallout spread like dominoes. What began as an actress accusing her co-star of harassment had evolved into a tangled web of lawsuits, loyalty tests, and Hollywood politics. Every move was scrutinized, every silence interpreted, every deleted post turned into evidence of hidden alliances. Fans online couldn't stop speculating. Why had Hoover really deleted her posts? Was Ryan Reynolds' involvement proof of a controlling power couple? Had Blake's ambitions sabotaged her career, or was Baldoni weaponizing the legal system to save his own? The debates were endless, fueled by viral TikTok edits, YouTube analyses, and Twitter threads that went viral overnight. This wasn't just a lawsuit anymore. It was a cultural spectacle, a Hollywood implosion being broadcast to the world in real time. And with stakes as high as $400 million, the story was far from over. From the very beginning, this story was never just about a film adaptation. It was never just about Colleen Hoover's best-selling book being turned into a Hollywood production. It was never just about Blake Lively stepping into a lead role or Justin Baldoni bringing his directorial reputation into the mix. What started as a dream collaboration, an author finally seeing her words brought to life on the big screen, soon spiraled into one of the messiest, most chaotic, and most talked about sagas Hollywood has seen in years. And sitting right at the center of it, caught between two of the most powerful forces in entertainment, was Colleen Hoover, the woman whose story began all of this. Early emails, revealed during the ongoing legal battles, painted a picture of trust and admiration. Hoover wasn't just passively allowing Baldoni to direct. She was excited. She was invested. She wrote long, heartfelt notes praising his passion, his vision, and his unique ability to capture raw emotion on screen. She pointed to his work on 5 Feet Apart as proof that he could handle the sensitivity of It Ends With Us, a story that resonated with millions for its raw portrayal of survival, trauma, and resilience. Hoover's confidence was clear. She believed Baldoni would respect her story and deliver something audiences could connect with on a profound level. But as soon as Blake Lively entered the picture, the dynamics shifted. What looked like a golden opportunity quickly began to resemble a battleground. The first cracks began to show when whispers from the set suggested that Lively wasn't content to just play the lead character. Rumors swirled that she was inserting herself into creative decisions, clashing with Baldoni over the direction of key scenes, even challenging his authority outright. For some, it was Blake being Blake, an actress who had earned her status in Hollywood and wasn't afraid to use her voice. But for others, it looked like something much darker, a power struggle that would eventually spill out into the open, dragging everyone into the chaos, including Hoover herself. Things escalated even further when Ryan Reynolds entered the fray. Known for his wit and charm, Reynolds was never officially attached to the project, yet insiders whispered that he was heavily involved behind the scenes, even rewriting parts of the script. Depending on who you ask, it was either a husband supporting his wife, or an A-list actor seizing control of a film that was never his to begin with. What should have been a collaboration between author, director, and star soon devolved into a tug-of-war for power, each side fighting to protect their vision, their reputation, and ultimately their careers. Then came the bombshell. Blake Lively accused Justin Baldoni of sexual harassment, filing a legal complaint that sent shockwaves across Hollywood. The details were damning: allegations of unwelcome advances, inappropriate discussions, and blurred boundaries during the filming of intimate scenes. But Baldoni wasn't about to take the accusations lying down. He filed a countersuit, alleging defamation and claiming that Lively's accusations were nothing more than a calculated attempt to destroy his career. Suddenly, what had once been whispers of on-set tension exploded into a full-blown media war, with headlines splashing across every major outlet. And right in the middle of it all was Colleen Hoover, the woman who had trusted both of them. The woman who had once publicly praised Lively as kind, honest, and supportive, and who had described Baldoni as a visionary director capable of bringing her work to life. At first, Hoover seemed to lean toward supporting Lively. She posted glowing tributes, thanking Blake for her patience, her kindness, her humanity. It looked like solidarity, like an author standing behind her leading actress during a moment of crisis. But then something changed. Fans noticed Hoover suddenly deactivated her Instagram, disappearing from social media without explanation. When she returned, the signs were impossible to ignore. Every photo of Blake Lively was gone. Posts about the film, the premiere, and even old messages of support had been erased. Hoover didn't just distance herself. She scrubbed her account clean, leaving no trace of either Lively or Baldoni. For fans who had followed her journey, it was shocking. For critics, it was telling. Was Hoover trying to protect her career by staying neutral, or was this her subtle way of siding with Baldoni while keeping her public image spotless? Her actions spoke louder than words. Hoover may not have released an official statement, but her silence became a statement in itself. Fans speculated endlessly. Was she favoring Baldoni in private while keeping her distance in public? Was her Instagram purge a calculated takedown of Lively, effectively erasing her from the narrative of "It Ends With Us"? Or was it simply the move of an author who wanted nothing to do with the circus surrounding her story? One of the wildest theories suggested that Hoover's purge wasn't neutrality at all, but a subtle power play. By erasing Blake Lively from her narrative, she was effectively stripping her of legitimacy, making it look as though Lively was never the face of the adaptation to begin with. It was a quiet, bloodless erasure. No angry words, no direct accusations, just a digital delete button pressed with surgical precision. But neutrality comes at a cost. While some applauded Hoover for staying above the drama, others saw her silence as cowardice. Critics accused her of valuing her Hollywood connections over loyalty, of selling out the very values she built her career on. After all, Hoover had built her brand on being anti-abuse, on standing up for victims, on telling stories that gave voice to the voiceless. Now faced with allegations of harassment and manipulation, she chose silence. Was it a smart legal strategy, as some suggest? Or was it a betrayal of the very principles her readers loved her for? Either way, the damage was done. Hoover's name was no longer just tied to tear-jerking novels. It was now tied to one of Hollywood's ugliest controversies, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Baldoni isn't just fighting for his reputation, he's seeking $400 million in damages. His career is on the line, his agency has dropped him, and the accusations have cast a shadow over everything he's built. For Lively, the accusations against Baldoni may have started as a fight for her safety, but they've since morphed into a battle over her credibility. Every move she makes is scrutinized, every statement dissected. For Reynolds, his involvement has only raised more questions about whether his influence helped or harmed the project. And for Hoover, the fallout threatens more than just her reputation. It threatens her entire future in Hollywood. Projects like Reminders of Him and other adaptations could now be at risk if studios see her as too closely tied to a scandal. Hollywood is brutal when it comes to optics. One wrong move, one poorly timed statement, and an entire career can crumble. Hoover's silence may have been advised by lawyers, a way to stay clear of defamation suits and messy legal entanglements. But silence is rarely neutral in the court of public opinion. Fans who once adored her are now left wondering where she truly stands. Did she sacrifice her values for survival? Did she erase Lively out of loyalty to Baldoni or out of self-preservation? And most importantly, will her neutrality save her career or destroy the trust she built with millions of readers? The truth is, Hoover has walked herself into a no-win situation. If she publicly sides with Lively, she risks alienating Baldoni, a man she once trusted and praised. If she sides with Baldoni, she risks alienating Lively's massive fan base and looking complicit in dismissing harassment claims. By trying to stay neutral, she risks looking like she stands for nothing at all. Fans are already drawing comparisons to other Hollywood scandals, where silence was seen not as neutrality but as complicity. And once that narrative takes hold, it's nearly impossible to shake. What makes this even more compelling is the way social media has turned the controversy into a circus. Every move Hoover makes or doesn't make is analyzed, dissected, and spun into conspiracy theories. Some fans believe she's secretly working with Baldoni behind the scenes, maintaining a private loyalty while keeping her public record clean. Others think she's distancing herself from both parties to protect upcoming deals, playing the long game in Hollywood where reputations rise and fall overnight. And still others see her silence as betrayal, a sign that she values her career more than standing up for what's right. At the end of the day, Hoover may have thought she could step back, wipe her Instagram, and avoid the chaos. But by doing so, she's become part of the chaos. Her legacy is now intertwined with the lively Baldoni war, whether she likes it or not. Fans no longer just see her as the best-selling author of heart-wrenching novels. They see her as the woman who deleted Blake Lively, the woman who stayed silent, the woman who refused to take a side. And in Hollywood, perception is everything. So where does this leave her? It leaves her walking a razor's edge. If she can weather the storm without being dragged further into the mud, she may emerge with her reputation intact, even strengthened as a savvy professional who knew when to keep quiet. But if the narrative shifts against her, if fans decide her silence equals betrayal, she could find herself on the wrong side of history, remembered not for her books, but for the scandal she tried to avoid. The irony is almost poetic. Colleen Hoover, the woman who writes stories about resilience, survival, and finding strength in the face of chaos, now finds herself living one of those very stories. Only this time it's not fiction.